Zumi here, with the latest in my What's Cool About Your Job series. I'm here today with software engineering professor Dr. Carol Wellington.
Hi, Zumi. I'm happy to be here today.
Let's get right to it. What made you interested in software engineering?
Well, I'm older than dirt. I was picking this in the 1970s. And at that point, the people who played with computers were these cool, creative people who were hanging out in their garages in cut-off shorts, building things no one had ever seen. I totally wanted to hang with those people. I will admit that this was met with some resistance. I never did any of the things that make people say, you should be an engineer. I never took anything apart, and I certainly never put anything back together. But I really wanted to be one of those creative people playing with new toys.
That's an interesting story. Did it work out that way?
Yeah, it did. One of the great things about software engineering is that you can build a zillion different things. I've built software for the big machines that banks use. I know, that sounds pretty boring. My stories get better. I've built software that makes sure your telephone works, even if a bulldozer digs up the fiber cable. I've built software that helps people with disabilities use a computer, software that predicts the stock market, software that tracks the health of marshes to prevent environmental damage, games that teach things, and games that are just for fun. The list goes on and on. If you look around, almost everything has software in it, and that software can transform how we do things.
You have built cool things, but did you really get to hang with creative people? I'm pretty sure programmers are boring, nerdy, and no fun at all.
You couldn't be further from the truth. To build things that have never been built, you have to be imaginative and creative, and you have to work with lots of people with different backgrounds. When I'm coding, it feels like I'm sculpting. I can see in my head what I want the machine to do. I stick some code here, I twiddle some code there, I clean up some code over here, and lo and behold, the machine does something entirely new. It helps someone in a way it couldn't before. A problem is fixed, or something entirely new, like you, Zumi, appears. The people I've worked with all see that beauty.
Wow, that sounds really cool. You must be very smart.
Nope. Just like everyone else, when I started doing this, I was not good at it. My first programming class was in high school, and I got a C, but only because the teacher took pity on me. My second programming class was in college, and again, I got a C, but this time I had earned it. Learning to program isn't like learning the other things you learn in school. At first, everyone is bad at it. It's a whole new way of thinking, and it takes time.
I don't understand. Everyone is bad at it when they start?
Yes, everyone. I tell my students, learning to program is like learning a musical instrument or a sport. At first, you're bad at it. You know the terribly squeaky sound of a child learning to play the violin. And you probably remember the first time you tried to dribble a basketball or figure skate. No one can do those things right away. But we learn those things when we're little, and we don't realize we're bad at them. We just keep doing them and we get better. It's the same way with programming. Keep doing it and you get better.
I don't really like doing things I'm not good at.
It's true. That feeling of being bad at something is a lot more uncomfortable when you're not a kid. I've seen so many people with good potential walk away from engineering because they don't like being bad at it. But you've got to remember, Serena Williams wasn't the GOAT when she was born. She's the GOAT because she kept practicing. Simone Biles wasn't the GOAT when she started. She kept practicing. Bill Gates started as a bad programmer, but he kept building. The way to fix the uncomfortable feeling of being bad at something is to practice. When I started building software for banks in the 80s, the software was really confusing. It took a while to see how all of the parts fit together. But once I figured it out, then I was building software that was supporting the traders on Wall Street.
Okay, I can see that. But how do you keep doing it when it's hard?
When kids are little and they learn to tie their shoes, they run around celebrating that they can now tie their shoes. Ooh, I can tie my shoes. At some point when we're growing up, that feeling changes. Instead of being proud that we know something new, we're embarrassed that we didn't know it 5 minutes ago. When you practice and get better, don't hide it and say, I should have known that already. Celebrate that victory. I make my students holler woohoo every time they build something new, and I still do that. I'm currently working on a system to help remote teams keep in touch better. Every time a new part works, I yell woohoo. That helps you remember your victories and gives you momentum to push you through the hard parts.
Any last words of advice?
If you're interested in software engineering, try something like the Hour of Code project. That'll let you see if you like playing with code. I was watching the Olympics, and Toyota had a commercial with the best line I've heard. You don't have to be awesome to start. You have to start to be awesome. Whether you want to build software systems like I've done, or you pick some other career, don't worry if it feels uncomfortable. Don't worry if other people don't think you should be doing it. Don't worry if it seems like other people know more than you. Just start. Do it every day. Find people who can share the struggle. Celebrate each new thing you learn, and before you know it, you'll be awesome.
I couldn't have ended this interview any better than that. Thanks, Dr. Wellington. And viewers, watch for my next episode.